Hello there. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Wear Red for Women month. And happy Saturday. How is everybody? I hope everyone's doing well. I will let you know. I got a couple stories for you. This is going to be real relaxed. I didn't even create any slides today. I wanted to continue talking about the psychology of what makes people buy, what makes people say yes. We've been talking about emails and email sequences and 7 frameworks that we should use, but I hadn't dove deep into the deep psychology of what makes us tick. So I thought that I'd go over that today. And like I say, this is super, super laid back. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about my setup here. I'm using the Meet 2 4K, and I'm using it with the Ozbot Center and that little extra piece of software that controls the camera, yet I'm not doing the tracking and whatnot, but I do have it at right now. It's zoomed at 1.15. That's the medium. It has 3 different settings. It has wide, which, and I'm going to play around here. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to show you. Hopefully I can get back to where I am. So this is wide, and it's not bad. I'm off center. I've got a little bit too much headroom up there, but this could probably be workable. There's something about getting too zoomed in to me that the recording, when you look at it's not distorted, but it just feels like it's zoomed in. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But this is the wide, and this is like no zoom. One time, 1x. This is the medium where I was at, and then this is the narrow. And this is probably good. This is probably good. Maybe I'll leave it here today. I don't know. This gives me a little bit of room. I could take this bar stool down a little bit. I have a bar stool. Okay. So I'm going to go back to medium. The only thing is that I love to lean, and I have a really high, it's not even a table. I think you would call it a utility table. It's like the tables in the hospital, that it can come over, it can come over a bed, but I'm not using it like that. I'm using it as a utility table. Let's just put it that way. My desk is over there, back there where the camera is, and this is in front of the desk. It's a strange setup, but it's a small room, and it is not very much real estate, so I do the best I can. But let me know what you think about this. I even ran it through ChatGPT. No, I ran it through Gemini, and Gemini told me to be off center. It was less assuming, it was friendlier, whatever. Like I say, we're just um, we're just freestyling today. Okay, let's do it. Now, one thing I will notice is I've got this bar stool up as high as it'll go, which is high, which makes me weirdly bend over like that because I like to lean in. And because the bar stool is so high, my lights are showing in my glasses now. Every time I even slightly, move up, you can see the lights in my glasses. So that's something to consider. Either that, either I take the stool down a little bit and change the zoom, or I I'm not going to do anything with my lights, but or I just zoom in. I don't know. I don't know. I probably should get the bench down, the not the bench, but the stool down a little bit. It's weird. I know people have, elaborate um very expensive, desks and chairs, desk chairs, but my situation, a bar stool worked out better. So, I'm going to talk about my Friday the 13th first. So, and this may or may not help people because this is about list building. So, what had happened was I was chatting with Claude and we were developing a Substack post. And if I do have my Substack over there in the chat, if you would want to subscribe, it's all free. I'm not asking anybody for any money. Heck no. Um, but go over there. I've got two posts over there. This week was Why People Say Yes, and it's kind of a deep dive. I gave a really cute example of the Costco, sample station, and you went in, you had your list, you see the, it happens. You see the teriyaki chicken samples, and suddenly you got teriyaki chicken in your cart because why? Re- Reciprocity. We talked about that. When somebody gives you something, you feel a little bit obligated to give back, you know. When we give someone a lead magnet that is of value, they feel more likely to at least listen to you. And if that lead magnet has actually brought them value and it has actually um, solved one problem, and that's in the workbook too. I hope you guys are looking at the workbook. Um, they're more likely to say, well, let me see what else she has. And it's a stepping stone. I think that the people like the gurus like Amy Porterfield and a lot of other people do this. They start off with a very low entry. They've got lead magnets out the yazoo, first of all. So you get a lead magnet and you go, yeah, she's pretty on top of things. And then she'll do like a $47, $27 boot camp or workshop, a week workshop. And you kind of get stepped into things. At least I did. When I slid down her funnel, I went from, I think it was $27 at that time, few years ago. It was called Subscribe. It was a list building workshop, and I thought, well, I got really good value out of that. I really did. And the next thing the upsell was a $495 list builders society is what she calls it, and that's now an evergreen. At that time, she was doing it live though. And so that was $495. And I, went through the list building and I could see the value. I really understood the value. And then what was the next thing I got? Well, I could have gotten her templates for another $500, but I didn't do that. But the next value was her signature course, which is, now I can't remember it, Digital Course Academy for $2,000. Oh no, and then there's another one. So you go $2,000 for her signature course, and then she has a premium um, Facebook group, which is it's called Momentum, and it is another $950 a year. I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's bad. There's a lot of value in that group. I think it's worth every penny. If I would utilize it to the max, I would probably have a lot more people on my list, but I go in and out there. And see, I can see the lights going in my glasses, so that's bothering me a little bit. So, that's reciprocity. If somebody gives you something, you kind of feel, okay, I'm gonna, probably go ahead and, invest in that person if it gives you value, if it solves one problem. And so I looked up Claude AI, and I looked up Robert, and I can't pronounce his last name. Everybody's read his book except me. Um, Cialdini. I even asked the Google to pronounce it for me. Cialdini. Anywho, Robert, he had he's spent his whole life with this psychology thing. I'm not sure what he's got several books about the psychology of influence and why people buy and why people say yes. And surprisingly, his his 6 6 principles that to why people say yes really do coincide with our 7 step framework for our emails. And if you just bear with me for a moment, because I really wasn't going to show this, but why not? Let's go to the email. Okay, let's go here. So I still didn't get to talking to you about my Friday the 13th. So it was all about landing pages, thank you pages, lead magnet, connecting. I've done this 1,000 times. And I got so far into tech hell that I couldn't believe it. It started Thursday night about 8 o'clock. And I'm like, I'm just going to hook this up. I'm going to, tee up my email and everything will be fine. And then I realized that the lead magnet that I wanted to connect to my Substack, which made sense, did not have a landing page. And this is going to get confusing and it's going to get in the weeds, but just bear with me. And I hope that my mic is working because that's been another challenge. So I had a lead magnet set up and I realized that that lead magnet was connected to a Flowdesk form that is for my workshop waitlist. I did not need to create a landing page for that lead magnet because people were getting that particular lead magnet when they signed up for the wait list, which was only a Flowdesk form. Because the people getting on the wait list were they call them warm people. And when I was going to connect it to my Substack, I realized there wasn't a proper landing page. And I've been telling you guys about, you go over to Canva, you grab your landing page, you create your landing page, you create your thank you page in Canva, you jump over to Flowdesk, you create your form, you connect the two, bada boom, bada bing, you're ready to grow your email list. Well, once I realized that, I don't have a proper landing page, I had to jump over to Canva and create a landing page. Show you that in just a momento. I didn't have it up. I should have had it up. So that being said, I was like, oh, I'm just so out of whack that I've got to make this landing page, and then I've got to make a matching um, thank you page, and it's got to kind of match the Flowdesk form. So everything was working great until I realized that I had a link in the actual lead magnet. It's a workbook. I had a link in there that was supposed to go back to, I know it's getting confusing, but it was supposed to go back to another lead magnet. Yeah, it gets tangled. So it wasn't working, and I still have to figure out why my lead magnet is sitting on my WordPress SiteGround hosted website. I have downloaded, have a lot of files up there that, I give away, and people are able to click on the link and it downloads it automatically, immediately opens up in an Adobe PDF. And it was cutting off, it was truncating the big long WordPress URL, because I'll just get in the weeds. Nobody's going to care about this, but my URL was inspiredcreators.studio/ whatever WordPress says, yada, 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 /uploads. If you use WordPress, the uploads, and then your media file is underneath that. that upload folder. Actually, it goes by months, and then it goes by years, then it goes by months. It's an extremely long URL, and somehow it was getting truncated. I don't know if Word. I don't know. You just never know. Did the server get updated? Something's going on. You know, quickly ask the AI. You know, could be permissions. Yada. Nobody wants to get in permissions, right? I don't want to get in permissions because that goes deep into what's up on the server and you can break stuff. So, still have not solved that problem. Is it that particular file that's, gummed up? I don't know. But I worked on it and worked on it. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm taking another route. I'm taking the link out of the PDF. No link. No link. I changed the last page up, and what I did was I couldn't edit it in Canva because it's a workbook and it's an editable workbook. Well, you create the editable workbook in Adobe, not Canva. I've not found a way to do that in Canva. If anybody knows how to make a PDF editable, which I mean, you've got a text box where people can start. You've got a question, then you've got a text box. People can type their answer right in that text box. Well, if I edit it in Canva, the whole file is going to wipe out those editable text boxes. So I was betwixt and between. And so finally, I said, well, I know there's a link that works, and that's my Calendly link. It seemed to work in the PDF, so I did that. So long story short, I was pulling my hair out, and I didn't get the email out. I had to wait till Friday because I just got tired, and then Friday the 13th wasn't much better. When I realized that it was Friday the 13th, I'm like, oh, okay, okay, and I know I'm not that prepared today, but you know what? There's a lot of stuff that went wrong this morning before I even got on. Friday the 13th was its own form of fresh hell, but I forgot to put a timer on my intro. Nobody noticed, did they? Sure you didn't notice. There's a lot of other things. My mic it's being touchy. So I'm hoping it's working right now. I actually got a new cord because the original cord that comes with it, I'm going to call the old USBs A's. I think that's what they're called, the wide one, which please manufacturers update. You've had all the time in the world. But so it had a USB-C A, and I had to plug that into a converter to get it to become a USB-C USB-C, the newer, narrower one. And I thought, well, that, on the back of the computer, it is just kind of hanging. Maybe it's in there sometimes, maybe it isn't. So I ordered a it's Rode brand cable. I got a new one. And so I tried that and I thought, okay, that'll be perfect. But yet and still it crapped out just a little bit ago. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what's wrong with this mic, but I certainly don't want to buy a new one. So there's that. And then I don't know if you guys are watching. I know you guys are watching the Olympics, aren't you? Of course you are. We're not talking about the subject that I had planned on talking about, but this is more pertinent. So I know you guys are watching the Olympics, and I know everybody the Ilya Milinen, I can't pronounce his name. It was so shocking and so sad. And this morning I was thinking maybe this isn't the analogy to use, but I said, hey, if an Olympian can crap out, me doing a Saturday morning live stream and a few things go wrong, I'm okay because guess what? I ain't no God. I'm just a mere mortal. And sometimes I think that it may be just a little easier and a lot better to just be normal. I cannot fathom being that good at anything. I'm a multi-potentialite. Look it up. There's a TED Talk. But yeah, I could not fathom doing one thing my entire life since I was a kind of a baby. That's the reason you came into this world. I just could jump from one thing to another, but that's what multi-potentialites do. We do not become experts at things because after we do something for so long and we just get up to the point where, we could be considered an expert, we get really bored and then we move on to the next thing. But being a multi-potentialite, that potential, we have the potential to be good at a ton of different things, but we don't stick with one thing because we always see something else. But hey, I've loved being it because I've jumped from one thing to the next. I've got no problem. But that that whatever it was, nine, I don't know how long his um the little whatever his thing was. I don't know how long it was, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. It was just so brutal to watch. And when he's not the only one, I know at that moment he probably felt like he was the only one that ever effed up. But every Olympics, this Olympics, there's been a ton of people F up. Chloe Kim doing what her superhuman stuff. She messed up, but she still got a gold. Um, but yeah, everybody messes up. That's what makes us human. And I don't think anybody should be wearing God on. So I heard just this morning that he had dubbed himself the quad god. I thought people had given him that name, but somebody said he dubbed himself. And I don't know if that's accurate because I don't think anybody would call themselves God. Little g. God knows, don't be a big G. But yeah, it was just, it was brutal to watch, but it does give all of us solace that if they can mess up, then it's okay if we mess up a little too. Okay? So I am going to say I've got a plumber. I'm looking down here a lot at my phone because I'm waiting for a plumber to come. I got no hot water. I had where that was brutal. I'm like, okay, so Friday the 13th is still going on. There is no water, hot water. And so I called the plumber and I'm like, can you come out today? I mean, didn't get to take a shower. And I was, really looking forward to a shower this morning. And I didn't. I kind of needed to wash my hair. So that was the sink, the bird bath thing. So he is on his way. So if he sends another text and says he's nearby, I am going to have to jump off. But back to, I told you I'm just hanging out today, and we're going to do what we're going to do. So I am going to go back to, let's see, I'm going over here. Hold on, getting off camera. Okay. So this is the app. I've showed you guys this. This is the Email Marketing Hub, and it has the 7 email frameworks that convert. And if you look at this, we're going to look at, let me see, can I get Chaldani's? Okay, when I tell Claude to give me a short summary, he summarizes it too much. So basically, we've got the quick win, the myth busting, the origin story, the quick tutorial, before and after, objection crusher, future pacing is the invitation toward your paid offer. And when we look over at my Substack, I put that link in the chat if anybody wants to come over and keep me company over here on Substack. Cialdini's 6 principles are reciprocity. You've already given them the lead magnet. So they kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. The social proof, you are giving them the quick win, shows them that you know what you're talking about. That helps them give you social proof. Liking, um, let's see, what do you like? You like, if I'm giving you social proof, if I have shown you one solution to a part of your problem, you're going to start liking me a little bit, and you're more likely to purchase things from somebody you like rather than somebody you don't. We got the myth bustings, the origin story. Um, you're giving them the authority, letting them know what you've been through. Scarcity, this goes back a little bit. I'm not big on false scarcity. I think it's fine to have not so much false scarcity, but maybe limited time. Just like when you go to Costco, you're at the sample station, you taste the teriyaki chicken. It's like, okay, that's better than the rotisserie. Let's go and buy this. It's in your cart. And plus the gal gives you a $3 coupon that's got an expiration date. That's kind of scarcity. It's giving you a time limit. So they do coincide, and I really want you guys to go over here and let me know what you think about my app. This is you can go over here. It's got a ton of stuff. You've got your email, you've got the 7 frameworks. It's giving you examples of how to use these things. And then you can come over here and you can play around. It gives you examples of a couple of campaign sequences. And then you've got the strategist. You can ask the strategist to write you some emails. You can do map. Okay, can map 5 email sequences. You can do, if you can give it your own sequences, and it can tell you, fix low conversions. I think it's pretty cool. I did this one, and then I did another one. I'll have to look for that. Okay. But I did another one, a new one that's called the Quick Copy Converter. I'm going to go over here and see if I can find it. That's the creative. No. Here it is. Okay. I built this in Base 44, and I'm not going to open it up because I have to answer a bunch of questions. But this is what Base 44 gave me. I mean, this is an app, Quick Copy. Turn your marketing ideas into copy that converts. And what this coincides with, this was born out of the lead magnet easy button formula. That formula, if I go in here, I've got to give an email. Let me see. Bonnie. And we're going bon@home.com because it doesn't have any error control on there. I think, to know that that's not a real email. And checking the chat there. So this coincides directly with the Easy Button Formula workbook, which I'm going to give you. Here we go. Where's the workbook? Here is the workbook. Okay, so see what I mean by this is editable. So my quick copy creator coincides with the exact questions that this baby is doing. So you got your identify your quick win, part 1. Part 2, where's part 2? Choose your format, checklist, cheat sheet, etc., etc. Part 3, identify your bridge to your paid offer. And then that is how this was developed on top of the questions. Now, what this will do, and I'm not going to go through all of the questions because it would take too long. And I did put this in, I put the email marketing hub link in the chat, but I didn't put the copy. Oh, I can put the copy because I don't have a landing page for this, so I don't really want to give it away. Even though it is gated, I feel like I need to have a landing page to it. The one thing about Base 44, it gives me it kind of sort of creates a database. It creates an Excel file of people that are signing up. So what I would have to do at this point, I would have to manually download a CSV file and then upload it to Flowdesk, which is my CRM, to get them into my my Flowdesk so they can get the emails, they can get the newsletter, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the only manual thing about this. And I know that if I really, put my noggin to it, that I would be able to figure out how to have the app connect to Flowdesk. I don't know how I would do that. Seems like there would be something like an API or something that's beyond my gray matter, but manually is fine for me because I don't expect, 10,000 people to be coming and using my apps at this point in time. At such time that there would be that much, I would. So, I am looking at just about 30 minutes here in. I don't see any comments in the chat, so I don't see any questions. I am going to jump off because I can see right here that my plumber is getting ready to come. And we will return next week. Always, I'm doing one every Saturday. And I didn't talk so much about why people say yes, but I do want you to go over and get my Substack. Read my Substack, comment on it, and as always, please let me know where you are in your list growth journey. If everything's going smoothly, I still want to know, okay? If you're stuck somewhere, please give me a holler. We can work something out, get on a Zoom call. I want to know where you are and I want to help you out. I want, 2026. We're at the middle of February, and you know how fast first quarter goes. It goes fast, doesn't it? So, I'm going to jump off because I need some hot water today and I do not want to miss this guy. So, I hope you have a great rest of the day. We're looking at a little bit more Olympics. I saw the biathlon. I'm just going to say this. I did not know that the biathlon was a gun. I thought I'll tell you that next week. When I saw that I think it was the men's doing the biathlon, when that man stopped and pulled the gun off his back. I just said, "Oh, I didn't know it was a gun. I thought that was an extra pair of skis." I didn't know that they combined shooting and skiing. I just didn't know it. Hey, I'm not in the Alpine. So hey, people, if you got any questions, give me a holler this week. I will see you again next week and have a great productive week. Ta-ta.